it's pretty rare that you get a look at the raw operating system of the world. Usually we just see the user interface, right?
Right.
The press conferences, stock market tickers, the celebrity galas, but every once in a while, something breaks.
Yeah.
The screen flickers.
And you see the code underneath.
Exactly.
That is a very ominous way to start a deep dive.
Yeah.
Well, considering what we're looking at today, I think it's pretty accurate.
I am talking, of course, about the massive data dump regarding Jeffrey Epstein.
Yeah.
And I want to be really clear right off the bat. We aren't doing the tabloid thing today.
Right.
If you're here for a list of celebrities who flew on a plane, you can.
Yeah.
You can find that on Twitter.
Yeah. Our focus is different. We've been combing through the analysis of over 3 million documents released by the government. And the mission isn't to look at the who, it's to look at the how.
Yes. How does a network like this survive for decades? How does the money move? How does the justice system just sort of forget to collect evidence? The sources we're looking at argue this isn't just about one criminal. It's about a glitch in the matrix that shows how the protected class really operates.
And it is a massive amount of data to get through, 3 million files. It's a mixed blessing because, as our sources point out, it's a giant haystack.
A haystack full of what? Disinformation.
Disinformation, random tips, just noise, all of it mixed in with the actual smoking guns.
Okay, so let's pull out the first needle.
Yeah.
And honestly, this is the weirdest one.
Uh-huh.
The pizza anomaly. Now, I have to play devil's advocate here immediately.
Please do.
Everyone eats pizza. Finding the word pizza in emails doesn't automatically mean there's a secret code. If you looked at my text history, you'd probably think I was running a mozzarella cartel.
No, I completely agree. And skepticism is healthy here. But context is everything. The researchers doing the textual analysis found something statistically strange.
Which is what?
Roughly 850 to 1,000 references to pizza in this dump. But it's who is saying it and what they are doing when they say it.
Okay, so walk me through the grape soda text, because on the surface, that just sounds like a really bad lunch combo.
It does, but look who's talking. You have Epstein and you have Dr. Harry Fish.
Fish is a prominent urologist, right?
A very prominent one. And in the texts, they're having a very clinical discussion about Stendra.
For those who don't know, Stender is...
It's an erectile dysfunction medication, a competitor to Viagra. They're talking about dosages, refills, medical stuff.
Okay.
And then, immediately after discussing the prescription, Dr. Fish writes, and I'm quoting here, "Wash your hands and let's go get pizza and grape soda. Call me."
Wash your hands.
Yeah.
That's the part that sticks out. Why would you text that to someone before you go get food? It's weird.
It's jarring. And you have to remember the demographic here. Epstein was a biohacker, obsessed with transhumanism, blood transfusions, immortality.
Right. His whole circle was made up of these health-obsessed billionaires monitoring their biomarkers.
Exactly. These are not people who are casually hanging out, drinking grape soda, and eating greasy pepperoni. It doesn't fit.
It feels incongruous. It's like hearing a fitness influencer suddenly talk about chain smoking.
And this is where the source draws a parallel to the 2016 Podesta emails, the whole Pizzagate thing.
Right.
Now, we aren't here to relitigate that whole conspiracy theory, but the source points out the linguistic patterns are identical. High-level people using food words and sentences that make no grammatical or contextual sense.
And there was another email in particular that the source highlighted. Something about Red Hook.
Yes. This is the big one for the code word theory. There's an email asking if a man can go to Red Hook for a pizza meal.
Okay, wait, let's pause on Red Hook. For anyone who doesn't know the geography of the Virgin Islands, why does that specific location matter so much?
Because Red Hook isn't a restaurant. It's not a neighborhood known for Italian food. Red Hook is a marina on the east end of St. Thomas.
A marina?
Specifically, it's the transit point. It is where you catch the ferry or the private boat to get to Little St. James, to Epstein's Island.
So if I say I'm going to the marina for a pizza meal, that's physically impossible. There's no Pizza Hut on the dock.
Precisely. You don't fly to a transit hub in the Caribbean for a slice of pizza. You go there to be transported to the island. So pizza, in this context, almost certainly refers to what was on the island.
And given what we know about the trafficking operation,
it paints a very, very grim picture.
It shifts pizza from a quirky coincidence to a likely euphemism for the victims. It effectively means I'm coming to the island for the illicit activity.
And speaking of grim coincidences, the source notes this really bizarre connection to the gunman from the original 2016 Comet ping pong incident.
The guy who went into the pizza place in D.C. to save the children and fired a rifle.
That's the one. The source points out a detail that gets overlooked. When he fired that gun, the bullet struck a computer tower. It went straight through the hard drive.
What are the odds of that?
Ballistics experts would say. Low. It destroyed the data storage. And the grim update the source provides is that the same gunman who had been released was killed by police in North Carolina just weeks before these new Epstein files were dropped.
That feels like cleaning up loose ends.
It's that glitch in the matrix feeling. It's just a little too neat.
So let's move from the conspiracy side to the procedural side. Because if we have these texts, pizza, Red Hook, drug prescriptions, surely the FBI is all over this. I mean, Dr. Fish is a public figure. Has he been grilled?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. And according to our source, the answer appears to be no. There's no public record, no indication in any of these files that these people are being interviewed.
That seems negligent. I mean, if I texted a known drug dealer about picking up the package, the police would probably have a few questions for me.
It's worse than negligent. The source details a moment from the Ghislaine Maxwell trial that reveals a complete breakdown of the chain of custody.
Is this the story about the raid on the townhouse?
It is. So just picture this. The FBI executes a search warrant on Epstein's huge New York mansion. They find a safe. Inside the safe, there are binders full of CDs and hard drives.
Okay, so the holy grail of evidence, the digital footprint of everything.
You would think. The agents photograph the evidence, but then they leave it there.
Wait, hold on. They saw the hard drives, took a picture, and then just walked out of the house without them.
They claim the warrant scope didn't cover the specific nature of those drives at that moment, but here's the kicker.
What?
They asked Epstein's lawyers, his own defense team, to please mail the hard drives to the FBI offices later.
You're joking. Please mail us the evidence of your client's crimes at your earliest convenience.
Effectively, yes.
That can't be standard procedure. That's insane.
It's absolutely not. It breaks what's called the chain of custody. It's the most basic concept in law enforcement. You need to prove that evidence hasn't been tampered with. Between the time the FBI left and the time that package arrived in the mail, anything could have happened. Drives, wiped, swapped, destroyed. We will never know if what the FBI eventually got was what was actually in that safe.
It sounds less like a blunder and more like professional courtesy.
A courtesy for a co-conspirator. And the files actually use that word. There's a document naming 10 people, including the retail mogul Leslie Wexner. The government has had these names for years.
But they treated it like he was a lone wolf.
Mm-hmm.
And that, I think, brings us to the money. Because this is where the story shifts from just pervert with an island to systemic corruption. People get distracted by the salacious stuff, but the money is the engine. We need to talk about Liquid Funding Limited.
Yes. If you only remember one thing from this deep dive, make it that company name, Liquid Funding Limited.
Okay, break it down for me. What is it, and why does it matter so much?
It was a company in the Bahamas, partially owned by Bear Stearns and run by Epstein. Now, think back to 2008, the global financial crisis. What caused it?
Subprime mortgages. These toxic assets bundled together to look like safe investments.
Exactly. Those bundles were called CDOs collateralized debt obligations. Think of a CDO like a box of toxic waste wrapped in gold foil. Liquid Funding Limited was basically a machine for creating these CDOs.
Okay.
But here's the crazy stat. The company had about $100 million in capital, but it was allowed to sell over $20 billion in these toxic assets.
Wait, run those numbers by me again. $100 million in the bank, but trading $20 billion.
That's a leverage ratio of 200 to 1. To put that in perspective for you, imagine walking into a casino with $1 in your pocket, and the casino lets you place a $200 bet.
If you lose, the whole house crashes. It's financial suicide. Why would anyone allow that?
Because the fees generated are massive. But it suggests that Epstein wasn't just an investor. He was a node. He was part of the plumbing that pumped this toxic sludge into the global economy.
And what about the timing?
Suspiciously perfect. Epstein redeemed his shares and wound the company down right before Bear Stearns collapsed. He got out. He knew the building was rigged to blow because he helped wire the explosives.
So when we ask, how did he get away with the trafficking for so long?
Mm-hmm.
The answer might be because he was making the right people incredibly rich.
Or helping them hide their money. The source describes him as a full-service provider. If you were a billionaire, a foreign leader, a tech mogul, and you needed to move money without the IRS seeing it, or you needed a tax shelter.
Or you needed a party with young women.
Epstein was the one-stop shop.
Which explains the connection to people who seemingly had nothing in common with him, like Bill Gates.
Right. And this is a delicate subject, but we're just reporting what's in the source's analysis of the files. There is a very specific and very personal allegation regarding Gates.
And it completely contradicts the public image.
The claim in the files is that Bill Gates was trying to secretly give antibiotics to his wife.
Secretly. Why not just say, honey, I'm sick, we need to see a doctor?
Because, according to the allegation in the notes, he had contracted an STD from a woman associated with Epstein, described as a Russian hooker, and he had passed it to his wife. He was trying to cure her without admitting where it came from.
Wow. I mean, beyond the personal betrayal, that just shatters the global health expert persona.
Well, it's the duality, right? The public saint, the private sinner. And this massive disconnect is fueling what the source calls the matrix effect on the younger generation.
I found this part of the analysis fascinating. The idea that for anyone under 30, the post-9/11 generation, this stuff doesn't even shock them anymore.
Well, think about it. If you were born in the 90s, your entire experience of truth has been finding out the official story was a lie. Weapons of mass destruction, lie. The 2008 crash, rigged. The opioid crisis, pure corporate greed.
So when they hear billionaire runs a trafficking ring with the help of the government, they don't riot, they just shrug their shoulders.
The source calls it decadence. Not in the sense of eating grapes on a lounge chair, but in the philosophical sense. Decadence is when a society accepts that its institutions are corrupt, but is too comfortable or too tired to do anything about it.
You normalize the monstrous.
Exactly. And that is a dangerous apathy. It means the shock doctrine has worn off. We just assume the game is rigged.
And the files show this rot is everywhere. It's not a partisan thing. That's a key takeaway from all this.
Absolutely. You see Democrats like Clinton, sure, but then you see people in Trump's orbit. You see these deep ties to Bill Barr, the former attorney general.
Wait, connect that dot for me, Bill Barr.
The source notes that Epstein's father actually hired Bill Barr's father, who was a headmaster at a prestigious school years ago. There are generational links between these families.
Wow.
Mike Pompeo's name appears in relation to the CIA. It's a uniparty of the protected class.
It really reinforces that it's not red versus blue. It's the people inside the velvet rope versus everyone else outside.
And that's why the lack of investigation matters so much. It isn't just about punishing a dead man. It's about asking, who is running the system? If a blackmail ring and a massive money laundering operation can run for 20 years, and the DOJ's response is to look the other way, who's really in charge?
It's a heavy question. So what do? We have the documents. The source says we should verify it ourselves.
That's the silver lining here. The data is out there. You can go to justice.gov/Epstein, use the search bar, type in pizza, type in Stendra. Don't take our word for it. Read the emails for yourself.
Verification is the only antidote to the gaslighting. If you look at the raw data, you stop being a passive observer.
And there's one final lingering thread the source mentioned that we just have to touch on. It's the one that keeps me up at night.
The sci-fi angle.
Epstein's obsession with genetics. Throughout these files, there isn't just an obsession with sex. There's an obsession with breeding, with cloning, with DNA modification.
It sounds like the plot of a bad movie, but he was serious about this, wasn't he?
He was funding scientists. He wanted to seed the human race with his own DNA. It suggests the trafficking might not have just been for pleasure. It might have had a darker, pseudoscientific purpose. A eugenics project funded by unlimited dark money.
That is terrifying. It reframes the whole operation from just hedonism to something much more calculated, much more sinister.
Exactly. And it's a reminder that we probably haven't even scratched the surface of what was really going on here, the financial crimes and the trafficking. They might have just been the funding mechanism for something even stranger.
Well, on that cheerful note, we're going to wrap it up. But seriously, go look at the files, be curious, don't let the apathy win.
Knowledge is the only weapon we have left.
Thanks for diving in with us. We'll see you next time.